Assalamu alaikum, kiddos. Just getting back in the car. So in the previous video, which I started talking about career, profession, business, or financial circumstances, whatever you want to call it. What I told you was I'm trying to recreate a conversation that I had, a long conversation that I had with a young cousin, a young professional. He had asked me about, my different struggles growing up, or my life journey, and then more specifically business stuff, where what went wrong and what went right. So that's what I'm trying to do. Just because I thought it would add some value to you at some point as well. So in this last video, I talked about, we fall into several categories. Either we're employees, we're self-employed, or we're business owners, or we're investors. So all of us, or most of us, start off as being an employee, because to do any of the other stuff, you gotta have money. Where's that money gonna come from? Most of us have to get jobs, and then hopefully they're jobs or multiple jobs, where we could make more money than we need to live off. So you choosing your right profession, then working hard at it, hoping to make pretty good money, and then saving, and then deploying your saving into something that really compounds your funds. So okay, and most as an employee, the taxes you will pay, especially if you're a high earner. I have some friends and family members that complain to me how much they pay. Well, it's a good problem to have. First off, thank God you're in that predicament. You want to put yourself in that predicament, and then that's, I would say, you got to get to that point, and then I think your financial journey really begins, because you owe it to yourself at that point, when you're making a reasonable amount of in terms of earnings, and then you want to live below your means. As your income rises, very common to see people's expenses rise, as sometimes they rise more than their income. Don't do that. Don't put yourself in that predicament. So because you want to be able to deploy your savings into something that will produce income for you, and get it to a point where the income generated from your investments, is the same as that you make from your job, which then will give you optionalities. You could cut down on your jobs, the number of hours you work. You could leave it if you dislike it, if you hate it, or maybe, God willing, you'll be in a profession you could say, hey, I love my job. I don't have to work as much anymore, but I could do it until I'm 70, 80, until I'm dead. But if I want to take summers off with the kids, for a couple of months, hey, my income, I'm still getting an income from my investments. So optionality is what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to show you guys. So again, most of us start as employees. Get into a profession where it gives you reasonable earnings, live below your means, invest your savings, And then another thing that some of us fall into is we're self-employed, you know. But even, let me back up here a second. As an employee, even if you do a great job, you know, picking the right profession, making, becoming a higher earner, the time you spent on that job, and the earnings that you will receive, they're both connected. If you're not working, you're not making any money. Even if you're a high earner, you got to be on that job to be earning. So likewise, as a self-employed, what is a self-employed person? Well, it's it could be a professional who has a job, has a good, is a reasonable earner that says, oh, I'll just go do it on my own, and so I don't have to work for anybody. That could be an attorney, a physician, again, but still, your earnings and the time are still kind of connected. If you're not constantly hustling, constantly grinding, you're not making anything. So with employees and self-employed, you have that. So again, it's a good place to begin. That you've worked hard, you chose a great profession, and then you have plenty of savings. So these were the two. We're either employees or we're self-employed, but neither one. You can't just stop there. You owe it to yourself and your family to learn to become an investor, and or a business owner. That's where you want to be, those two spots. Again, just like the employee, the self-employed also is taxed at a higher tax bracket. What I've learned, since I'm not so smart, it took me a long time to figure these things out because nobody told me. That's my intention to put it in front of you and let you choose. Hopefully it adds some value to your life. What I've learned, whichever country you're in, the financial systems of most countries is set up to favor the business owners or the investors. I'm gonna have to stop soon, kids, but I'll end it with that with pretty eye-opening reminder for me. I remember when the presidential debate was happening, Hillary Clinton and President Trump, they were both having a debate. So Hillary, takes a jab at President Trump and says, she says, I look what I've paid in taxes, and look at Trump. He's worth billions of dollars, and he pays, minimum or very low income taxes. Well, what was Hillary? She was always complaining. She was telling of herself that she has been an employee and self-employed, paying much more in taxes, whereas Trump, who's worth billions, and his response is, because I'm smart. Whatever you think of him or her, I'm not for or against, any of them, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican or you're independent, So he said, I'm smart. I don't pay any taxes. He's not, as long you don't want to be, evading or breaking rules, learn to play the game. And then, we'll get into that. How he may have reduced his tax liability. But for now, that hit home. You know, whereas Hillary accused him of being unpatriotic, not paying enough taxes. Trump's response was, because I'm smart. You know. Anyways, that's all, kiddos. I gotta go. Talk to you guys soon. Assalamu alaikum. Love you guys.